"Your daughter needs a home. My daughter wants a mother," the single rancher told the homeless widow. The colony of Aurora Prime was far from the bustling cities of Earth. On this planet, the sun rose slowly over vast fields of shimmering crops, tinted with the subtle glow of genetically enhanced pigments. The soil was rich and strange, feeding plants that seemed almost alive. Birds were replaced by small flying drones that hummed softly in the air, carrying nutrients or data to farmers. For some, life here was a dream of progress and peace. For others, it was a constant struggle. Lena Calder was one of the latter. She had arrived on Aurora Prime with her husband and young daughter Myra, seeking a fresh start. But tragedy had struck too soon. A sudden accident during a mining expedition had taken her husband, leaving Lena alone with a daughter who barely remembered him. Shelter was scarce, and work was even scarcer. Lena had tried to scrape by, repairing old machinery for anyone willing to pay, scavenging from abandoned trade shuttles, and doing whatever small jobs the colony offered. Still, each night, as Myra slept curled against her, Lena wondered if they would ever feel safe again. This morning, Lena pulled on her worn jacket and stepped into the dusty streets of the colony's main settlement. She carried her tools and a small pack of supplies, hoping to find scrap metal or parts from the derelict shipyard at the edge of town. Myra, ever curious, trailed behind, her small feet barely making a sound against the metal walkways. Her eyes were wide with wonder at the humming drones, the solar panels stretching across the roofs, and the occasional robotic assistant carrying a tray of food. "Mama, do you think we'll find something today?" Myra asked, her voice quiet but hopeful. "We'll try," Lena replied, forcing a smile. She had learned long ago that hope could be dangerous if left unchecked, but today she wanted to believe. At the shipyard, old ships rested on crumbling platforms, some missing panels, others with windows shattered by storms or neglect. The smell of metal, oil, and old fuel filled the air. Lena knelt beside a half-buried drone chassis, examining the circuits. Myra wandered a few feet away, running her fingers over the smooth metal of a small hovering robot that seemed abandoned. As Lena worked, a vehicle approached. It was sleek and polished, unlike the weathered cargo shuttles that usually came to the shipyard. A soft hum preceded it and the craft stopped near them. The door opened and a man stepped out. He was tall, with broad shoulders and a gentle but confident expression. His suntanned skin spoke of someone who spent long hours outdoors, and his hands were strong but careful, not rough like a laborer's. "Morning," he said, his voice calm. "I didn't expect to see anyone here so early." Lena straightened, wiping her hands on her jacket. "Just looking for scrap," she replied cautiously. She didn't trust strangers easily, especially in a place where everyone seemed to be surviving day by day. The man crouched to Myra's level, smiling warmly. "And who's this little explorer?" "This is Myra," Lena said softly. Myra gave him a shy wave. "I'm Jace Thorne," the man said, standing up again. "I have a ranch a few kilometers from here. I sometimes need extra hands with repairs and maintenance. If you're interested, I could use someone skilled with machines." Lena blinked. The offer surprised her. Work was rare, especially work that paid enough to keep a small family safe. She hesitated, unsure if it was safe to trust him, but she couldn't ignore the possibility. Why would you help us?" Lena asked. Jace's expression softened. "Let's just say I believe everyone deserves a chance to grow, especially children. My daughter, Arya, could use a friend her age. And maybe you could use a place where you feel safe." Myra's eyes lit up at the mention of another child. Lena noticed her daughter's shoulders straighten, a small smile playing on her lips. It had been so long since Myra had shown excitement beyond small toys or gadgets. Lena studied Jace for a long moment. His sincerity seemed real, but caution was a habit she could not shake. "I'll think about it," she said finally. "We don't have anywhere to go right now." "That's fine," Jace replied. "I'll be around." Take your time." He left a small card with coordinates to his ranch, then returned to his vehicle and drove off smoothly, leaving a trail of quiet hums behind. For the rest of the morning, Lena and Myra explored the yard, collecting small tools and broken parts. Myra kept glancing at the card, then at her mother, curiosity burning in her eyes. "Mama, do you think he really has a daughter?" Myra asked. "I don't know," Lena admitted. "But maybe it doesn't matter. Sometimes people just want to help." By midday, Lena had gathered enough to repair a small mechanical harvester she had been fixing for a neighbor. She carried the parts back toward the settlement, Myra skipping beside her. On the way, they passed a communal garden where the colonists grew food for themselves and traded surplus. The air smelled of fresh herbs and warm soil, a small reminder that life could be simple, even here. That night, Lena sat on the small porch of a makeshift shelter she had rented temporarily. Myra slept in her arms, exhausted from a day of exploring and collecting. Lena looked at the stars above, scattered across the dark sky like spilled diamonds. Aurora Prime was beautiful in its own harsh way, but beauty didn't fill an empty stomach or keep a child warm at night. Lena wondered if Jace's offer was real, or if it was just another fleeting hope. The next morning she found herself returning to the shipyard, drawn by a mix of curiosity and necessity. Jace was there again, examining a broken irrigation drone with quiet focus. He looked up as they approached, nodding in greeting. "You came back," he said simply. Lena held up the card. I'm thinking about it. What kind of work are we talking about?" Jace's eyes sparkled with a mix of pride and excitement. "My ranch is larger than most colonies' farms. I grow food for the entire settlement, and I've been experimenting with hybrid plants. I need someone who understands machinery, and someone who can teach my daughter a bit about the world, too." Myra peeked out from behind Lena, curious. "Your daughter, she's my age." Jace smiled. "A little older, but I think you two could become friends." Lena looked at Myra. Her daughter's face was full of hope, and for the first time in a long while, Lena felt a flicker of something she hadn't felt in months, possibility. I'll come," Lena said softly. "We can try it." Jace nodded, satisfied. "Good, you'll stay at the ranch until you get settled. It's not much, but it's home." The word struck Lena in a way she hadn't expected. Home. A place where she and Myra could belong, where they wouldn't have to worry about scraps or shelter. For once, the future seemed full of light. As they followed Jace toward the distant fields of the ranch, Myra held her mother's hand tightly, her eyes wide with wonder. The sun glinted off the advanced irrigation towers and gleaming greenhouses, and the wind carried the faint scent of growing crops. Lena felt her heart lift slightly. Maybe, just maybe, life on Aurora Prime could be more than survival. Maybe it could be full of hope, friendship, and family again. And somewhere deep inside, Lena realized that this was only the beginning. The ranch stretched farther than Lena could see. Endless fields of strange, shimmering crops rippled under the gentle sunlight, their colors shifting slightly as if alive. Large, sleek greenhouses dotted the landscape, and small hovering drones zipped between them, carrying nutrients and monitoring plant health. Lena had never seen anything like it, not even on the colony's main settlement. Jace led them down a wide path lined with low fences. Myra's eyes were wide with wonder, darting from the glowing plants to the hovering drones. "Mama, it's like a garden from a storybook," she whispered. Lena smiled softly. "It's beautiful," she admitted. She had expected farms, yes, but nothing this alive. The air felt fresher here, filled with the scent of growing plants and the soft hum of machinery. "This is where you'll stay," Jace said, stopping in front of a small house nestled at the edge of the ranch. It was modest but neat, with solar panels on the roof and a small porch overlooking a field of golden wheat-like crops. "It's simple, but it has everything you need." Lena stepped inside. The walls were clean, the furniture functional but comfortable. A small kitchen sat in one corner and two bedrooms were tucked toward the back. Myra ran to a window, pressing her hands against the glass, her eyes shining. "It's like a real home," she exclaimed. Lena's heart warmed at her daughter's excitement. Jace chuckled. "I'm glad you like it, but there's one more person you should meet." He led them to a small orchard near the main house. A girl of about 8 stood beneath a tree, examining a strange plant with glowing leaves. Her hair was a bright copper, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. When she saw Myra, her face lit up. "Hi, I'm Arya," she said, running toward them. Myra hesitated for a moment, then smiled shyly. "I'm Myra." Arya's grin widened. "You're going to help me with my garden, right? My dad says he wants me to learn everything about the plants and the machines here." Lena watched the two girls together. Arya was lively, talkative, and full of energy, while Myra was quieter, observing and learning. But already there was a spark between them, a curiosity about each other that made Lena hope they could become friends. "Arya's going to be your guide for now," Jace said, turning to Lena. "She knows this place better than anyone." For the next hour, Arya eagerly showed Myra around the orchard and the nearby greenhouses. She pointed out the hybrid plants, explaining how they reacted to sunlight, sound, and even touch. Myra listened intently, her small hands brushing gently over the leaves. "They respond to us?" Myra asked, fascinated. Arya nodded. "Yep, these plants are special. They grow faster when you talk to them, sing to them, or even tell them stories. I like to sing while I water them. It makes the colors brighter." Lena watched from a distance, impressed. The technology here was far beyond what she had expected, yet it felt natural. Everything at the ranch seemed alive, responsive, and connected. She realized that this place was more than just a farm. It was a living experiment in harmony between humans and nature. After the tour, Jace showed Lena the machines she would be working with. Small drones that carried water and nutrients, automated harvesters, and sensor arrays that monitored soil and plant health. Lena's hands itched to get started. She loved machines, loved fixing them, and she could see the potential for real innovation here. "You'll start with these drones," Jace explained. "They're simple enough, but they need regular maintenance. If you can keep them working, the whole ranch benefits. And don't worry, Arya will help you learn the routines." As the day went on, Lena adjusted to the rhythm of the ranch. Myra and Arya worked together, collecting ripe fruits from the trees and checking on young seedlings. At first, Myra was cautious, unsure of how to interact with Arya's boundless energy. But Arya had a way of drawing her out, asking questions, and inviting her to help in small ways. By the afternoon, the two girls were laughing together, chasing small garden drones as if they were tiny pets. Lena felt a warmth she hadn't felt in months. Watching her daughter smile freely, she realized that this ranch offered more than work. It offered a sense of belonging. She had been alone for so long, focused on survival, that she had forgotten what it meant to hope. Now, surrounded by these living plants, humming machines, and children laughing together, she could almost believe in a brighter future. That evening, as the twin suns of Aurora Prime dipped toward the horizon, Lena and Myra sat on the porch, watching Arya chase firefly-like drones in the orchard. Jace joined them with a cup of warm tea. "How's the first day?" he asked, settling into a chair beside them. "It's more than I expected," Lena admitted. "The girls seem to get along well, and the ranch, it's amazing." Jace smiled. "I hoped it would feel like a home. It's not perfect, but it's safe and it's ours." Myra leaned against Lena, her small hand gripping hers. "Mama, can we stay here forever?" Lena hesitated, then looked at the ranch, at the two children laughing together, at Jace's quiet reassurance. "I think we can try," she said softly. Over the next few days, Lena learned quickly. She cleaned and repaired drones, adjusted irrigation systems, and even helped calibrate the automated harvesters. Jace showed her how to read the sensor data, explaining how each plant responded to sunlight, water, and nutrients. Lena realized that this work wasn't just physical, it required thought, observation, and patience. It was challenging but rewarding. Myra and Arya became inseparable. They discovered a shared love for creating patterns with light-sensitive plants, arranging them in shapes that glowed softly at night. Lena found herself smiling more than she had in months, listening to the girls' laughter echo across the fields. She even joined them sometimes, arranging plants and experimenting with the drones, her hands deftly adjusting the controls. One afternoon, Arya led Myra to a hidden corner of the orchard. "This is my favorite spot," she said, pointing to a small grove where the hybrid plants grew in circular patterns. "I like to come here when I need to think." Myra nodded, sitting down beside her. "It's peaceful," she said. Arya smiled. "I thought you'd like it. We can come here every day after work. You know, if you want." Myra hesitated, then nodded. "I'd like that." Lena watched them, her heart swelling. She realized that this small patch of land, these fields of strange, glowing crops, and these two children were slowly becoming her new life. She didn't have to face the world alone anymore. One evening, as the sun set and the sky turned shades of pink and gold, Jace took Lena aside. "I want you to know something," he said gently. "Arya, she's been lonely since her mother passed, and I think maybe you and Myra could be part of our family here. Not replacing anyone, of course, but helping us grow something new together." Lena felt a lump in her throat. The offer was unexpected, and yet, deep inside, she felt it was right. She had spent so long protecting Myra from disappointment, from loss, from the world's harshness, that the idea of opening her heart again felt almost impossible. But seeing Myra laugh with Arya, seeing the ranch alive with possibility, she realized that perhaps it was time to trust again. I'll think about it," Lena said, her voice trembling slightly. Jace nodded. "Take all the time you need. We're not going anywhere." That night Lena lay awake, Myra curled beside her. She thought about the ranch, the children, and the strange beauty of Aurora Prime. For the first time in months, she allowed herself to imagine a future filled not just with survival, but with joy, friendship, and family. Myra stirred in her sleep and murmured, "Mama, Arya is my friend now. I think I like her a lot." Lena smiled softly, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's face. "I think so too," she whispered, and for the first time in a long while she felt hope. Aurora Prime was no longer just a strange, distant colony. It was a place where new beginnings were possible. And in the heart of the ranch, amid glowing plants and humming drones, a new family was slowly taking root. The mornings at the ranch had a rhythm that was both peaceful and demanding. The twin suns of Aurora Prime rose slowly, spilling golden light across the vast fields. Drones hummed as they flew over the crops, monitoring growth, adjusting nutrients, and carrying small tools to workers. Lena woke early, often before Myra, listening to the soft, alive sounds of the ranch. It was a life so different from the crowded streets of the colony's settlement, a life that demanded attention, patience, and care. Lena's first weeks at the ranch had been a learning curve. The machines here were far more advanced than anything she had repaired before. They responded to touch, to voice commands, and even to subtle changes in light. At first, she felt out of her depth, fumbling with the drones, calibration, and misreading the sensor data. But Jace had been patient, explaining each function clearly and letting her try again until she succeeded. "You have a gift for seeing patterns," Jace said one morning, as Lena adjusted the irrigation drones. "Machines aren't just about wires, they're about understanding how they move, how they respond. You have that." Lena flushed at the compliment. She had always been good with machines, but hearing someone recognize it, especially after months of struggle, gave her a small spark of confidence. Meanwhile, Myra and Arya had developed a routine of their own. They would wander the orchards and greenhouses together, checking on seedlings, collecting fruits, and experimenting with the hybrid plants. Arya loved to sing to the plants, claiming it helped them grow, while Myra preferred to observe quietly, noting patterns in the leaves or the way the drones moved around them. One morning, Jace called Lena aside. "We have a new project," he said, leading her toward a section of the greenhouse that had been empty until now. "These hybrid plants are experimental. I want to see if we can make them respond to more than sunlight and water, maybe even to sound patterns like music." Lena's eyes lit up. I can help with that," she said eagerly. Her mind immediately started imagining ways to adjust the sensor arrays, program the drones, and monitor plant responses. Jace smiled. "I thought you might say that. Myra and Arya can help with the testing." That afternoon, the girls were gathered around a set of small, glowing plants. Lena handed each of them a small control panel, showing them how to adjust light patterns and play gentle sounds. "The plants respond to what they sense," she explained. "If we create the right combination, we might see them grow faster or even change colors." Myra's eyes sparkled with curiosity. "Can I try a song?" she asked. "Of course," Lena said. Myra hummed softly, her voice mingling with the subtle hum of the drones. Slowly, the leaves of one small plant glowed brighter, shifting from soft green to a warm golden hue. Arya clapped her hands in delight. "It worked!" she exclaimed. Over the next few days, the project became their focus. Lena adjusted the drone patterns, ensuring that each plant received the exact amount of light and nutrients it needed. Myra experimented with different melodies, observing the plants' reactions, while Arya created patterns with the control panel, blending sound and light. It wasn't easy. Some plants reacted unpredictably, leaves curling or colors dimming unexpectedly. Other times, a drone malfunctioned, spraying too much water or shifting the light incorrectly. But Lena encouraged the girls to learn from these challenges, teaching them patience and observation. One afternoon, as a small solar storm swept across the sky, the drones began to act erratically. Lena quickly realized that the sensors were misreading the energy fluctuations, causing the irrigation system to spray unevenly. She called Myra and Arya over. "Quick," she said, pointing to the control panels. "We need to adjust the flow and stabilize the sensors before the plants get damaged." Myra and Arya worked together, following Lena's instructions. Myra monitored the plant responses while Arya adjusted the drone patterns. Lena moved between them, recalibrating sensors and rerouting energy flows. After tense moments, the system stabilized. The plants glowed evenly, unaffected by the storm. "That was amazing," Arya said, breathless with excitement. "We saved them," Myra smiled shyly. "We did it together." Lena looked at them, pride swelling in her chest. Not only had they prevented damage, but the girls had learned how to work as a team, each contributing their strengths. She realized that this was more than farming. It was teaching her daughter and Arya about problem-solving, resilience, and the joy of creation. As the weeks passed, Lena also began to understand the rhythm of the ranch. The mornings were for checking crops, drones, and machinery. Midday was for experiments and learning new techniques. Evenings were for quiet reflection, sometimes sitting with Myra and Arya as they arranged glowing plants into shapes that mirrored constellations. Each day brought small victories and occasional failures, but Lena noticed a change in herself. She felt capable again, confident, and connected to a larger purpose. One evening, as the suns dipped behind distant mountains, Jace invited Lena to walk with him across the fields. The golden light made the crops shimmer, casting long shadows over the land. "You've settled in well," he said, his voice calm and thoughtful. "The ranch is running smoother and the girls, they seem happier than ever." Lena nodded. "It's more than I expected." "I didn't think we could feel at home again so soon." Jace smiled softly. "Home isn't just a place, it's people, routine, and care. You and Myra, you bring that to the ranch. You've made it warmer, alive." Lena felt a lump in her throat. For months, she had feared that she and Myra were too broken, too small to belong anywhere. But Jace's words reminded her that family could be created, nurtured, and grown, just like the plants in the fields. The next challenge came unexpectedly. A new hybrid plant meant to glow with soft blue light when healthy began to wilt despite correct care. Lena studied the data, checking soil moisture, light intensity, and nutrient levels. Nothing seemed wrong. "It doesn't make sense," she muttered to herself. Myra and Arya stood beside her watching. "Maybe it's sad," Arya suggested, tilting her head. Lena chuckled. "Plants don't get sad, Arya, but they do respond to stress. Maybe there's something we're missing." She had an idea. "Let's try combining what we've learned, sound, light patterns, and drone care. Maybe it needs a little encouragement." The girls nodded eagerly. Myra hummed a gentle melody while Arya adjusted light patterns on the control panel. Lena fine-tuned the irrigation drones, making sure they delivered nutrients with precision. Slowly, the plant's leaves began to lift, glowing faintly with a soft blue light. "It's working," Myra exclaimed. Arya clapped her hands. "See, we can fix anything if we try together." Lena smiled, pride swelling in her chest. She realized that these moments, small victories, teamwork, and creativity, were the heart of life at the ranch. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about growth, connection, and hope. Days turned into weeks, and the bonds between Lena, Myra, Arya, and Jace deepened. The girls learned to anticipate each other's actions, communicate without words, and solve problems together. Lena became more confident with the technology, discovering new ways to combine drones, sensors, and hybrid plants to create living patterns of light and color. One evening, Lena found herself sitting alone in the orchard, watching the twin suns set. Myra and Arya were nearby, arranging glowing plants into shapes that mirrored the night sky. Lena realized how far they had all come. Myra laughed freely now, her curiosity unbound. Arya's energy seemed brighter than ever. And Lena, she felt strong, capable, and part of something bigger than herself. Jace approached quietly, sitting on a low fence beside her. "You've done well," he said. "Not just with the machines or the plants, but with them. You've helped create a family." Lena looked at the girls, laughing and experimenting with their glowing plants. I think I finally understand," she said softly. "Family isn't just blood, it's care, trust, and helping each other grow." Jace nodded. "Exactly, and here on this ranch we all get that chance. To grow, to learn, to belong." As the stars began to appear in the sky, Lena felt a quiet joy she hadn't known in months. The ranch was challenging, demanding, and sometimes unpredictable, but it was alive, and so were they. She realized that the real beauty of Aurora Prime wasn't just in its glowing crops or advanced machines. It was in the people who tended them, loved them, and nurtured each other. And in that moment, Lena knew that whatever challenges came next, they would face them together, as a family, as friends, and as humans capable of endless growth and resilience. Aurora Prime had always been a place of surprises. Its twin suns, while beautiful, brought sudden changes in temperature. Gentle breezes could turn into powerful gusts, and even the most advanced systems could falter without warning. Lena had grown accustomed to the rhythms of the ranch, but one morning Jace noticed something unusual. "Lena," he called as she adjusted the sensors on a drone, "come look at this." She wiped her hands on her jacket and followed him to the control room. Holographic screens displayed fields of crops across the colony, including their own ranch. Lines of data flickered erratically. "It's a solar storm," Jace explained, pointing at the readings. "Not dangerous for humans, but it can disrupt the irrigation systems, drones, and even the energy grids. If it's strong enough, it could damage crops everywhere." Lena's stomach tightened. The ranch was not just their home, it was a lifeline for the colony. People depended on the crops grown here for food. "How bad is it?" she asked. The forecasts say it will last several hours. We need to stabilize our systems and help the neighboring farms, Jace said. His voice was calm, but Lena could hear the seriousness beneath it. She glanced at Myra and Arya, who were peeking into the room, curious but cautious. "Do you think we can do it?" Myra asked softly. Lena smiled, trying to hide her worry. "We have to try, together." The first step was securing their own ranch. Lena coordinated with Jace to reinforce the drones' navigation systems, ensuring they would stay on course despite energy fluctuations. She programmed backup routes for the irrigation drones so that each crop would receive water even if some drones failed. Arya and Myra helped by monitoring small plants, adjusting lights manually when sensors flickered. "Be careful with the hybrid plots," Lena instructed. "They respond strongly to stress. If they get too much or too little water, they could wilt." The girls nodded, determination shining in their eyes. This was more than a game or a project now. It was a test of their teamwork and ingenuity. As the storm hit, the skies above the ranch lit with faint flashes. Drones hummed and sometimes faltered, but Lena had planned for this. She moved quickly between stations, recalibrating sensors, redirecting drones, and checking on the plants. Myra followed her closely, adjusting small light panels while Arya tracked the hybrid plants' responses. "Look," Arya shouted. "The blue glow plants are flickering." Lena hurried over. "It's okay. That means they're stressed but not damaged. We need to balance the light and water now." She guided the girls as they worked together, adjusting light panels, fine-tuning water levels, and monitoring plant reactions. Slowly, the plants stabilized, their glow returning to soft, steady colors. But the storm wasn't limited to their ranch. Holographic displays showed neighboring farms struggling, irrigation systems misfiring, drones crashing, and crops wilting. Jace frowned. "We can't fix everything alone," he said, "but we can lead. If we show the other farmers what to do, they can protect their crops too." Lena nodded. "We'll help them remotely. I can set up a shared control network so they can link their drones and irrigation systems to ours. Then we can stabilize the fields together." It was a massive task, but Lena felt a surge of determination. She and Jace worked tirelessly, coding and adjusting settings while Myra and Arya assisted by checking plants and relaying information. The girls' hands moved quickly, mimicking Lena's instructions. Their teamwork became seamless, a combination of observation, quick thinking, and patience. By midday, the worst of the storm hit. Drones across the colony began to misfire, light sensors flickered, and water levels fluctuated wildly. Lena's heart raced. She and Jace stayed at the control station, monitoring every change and sending instructions to neighboring farms. Myra and Arya worked tirelessly in the fields, keeping an eye on the hybrid plants. "Lena, I think the red leaf crops are getting too much water," Arya shouted. "Adjust the flow," Lena commanded. "Myra, help her." The girls moved quickly, coordinating their actions. Lena guided them, her mind racing with calculations and patterns. Slowly, the crops began to stabilize. The hybrid plants glowed steadily again, and the irrigation drones returned to their programmed routes. Hours passed, and the solar storm showed no sign of ending. Yet, Lena felt a strange calm amid the chaos. She had learned to trust her instincts, to rely on the girls, and to work with Jace as a team. Each adjustment, each carefully timed instruction, brought them closer to success. Finally, as the twin suns dipped low on the horizon, the storm began to weaken. The drones stabilized completely, the hybrid plant's glow returned to its full brilliance, and the neighboring farms reported that their crops were safe. Lena exhaled, exhaustion washing over her. Myra and Arya collapsed onto the soft grass, laughing and hugging each other in relief. "We did it," Myra exclaimed, her eyes shining. Arya grinned. "We really did." Jace approached, placing a hand on Lena's shoulder. "You all did more than just survive the storm," he said. You led, you helped the colony, and you showed everyone what teamwork and ingenuity can achieve. I'm proud of all of you." Lena smiled, her heart full. She realized that the ranch was no longer just a home. It was a place of learning, growth, and community. The challenges they faced had strengthened them, showing that humans, when working together, could overcome even the unpredictable forces of a distant planet. That evening, as the skies cleared and the twin moons rose, Lena, Myra, Arya, and Jace sat together on the porch, sipping warm tea and enjoying the calm after the storm. The fields glowed softly, a testament to their hard work and care. "Mama," Myra said, her voice quiet, "I think the ranch, it's magic." Lena laughed softly. "It feels that way sometimes, but it's not magic, it's people. Care, teamwork, and a little bit of creativity." Arya nodded. "I like that, people magic." Jace smiled at the two girls, then at Lena. "This storm showed something important," he said. "No matter how big the challenge, humans can solve problems when we work together. That's the real strength of our colony." Lena looked out across the fields, the glowing plants, and the small drones buzzing gently through the air. For the first time since she had arrived on Aurora Prime, she felt a deep sense of belonging. This ranch, these people, and the community they were helping, it was more than survival. It was life, full of hope, learning, and connection. The solar storm had tested them, but it had also shown them their potential. Humans could adapt, innovate, and care in ways that no machine could replicate. Lena realized that this was what made them special. Their creativity, empathy, and courage had saved not just their ranch, but parts of the colony itself. That night, Myra and Arya fell asleep beneath a soft canopy of glowing plants, dreaming of new adventures and discoveries. Lena sat beside them, brushing a strand of hair from Myra's face, feeling a warmth she hadn't known in months. Jace joined her on the porch, his eyes reflecting the soft glow of the fields. "You've done more than I expected," he said quietly. "You've brought life, hope, and strength to this place, and the girls, they've learned something they'll carry forever." Lena smiled, leaning back. "We've all learned something, that together we can face anything." The ranch was quiet now, alive with soft light and gentle hums. The storm had passed, leaving behind not destruction but growth. And Lena knew that whatever challenges came next, they would meet them together, as a family, as friends, and as humans capable of endless creativity and resilience. As the twin moons shone over Aurora Prime, Lena whispered to herself, "This is home." And we're just getting started. The morning sun spilled golden light over the ranch, illuminating the shimmering crops and the humming drones that floated lazily above the fields. After the solar storm, life on Aurora Prime had returned to its gentle rhythm, but Lena noticed something different. There was a sense of peace and confidence that hadn't been there before. The ranch was alive, not just with machines and plants, but with people who had grown together through challenges. Lena stretched, feeling the warmth of the sun on her face. Myra and Arya were already up, running through the orchard, laughing as they chased a group of small garden drones. Their joy was infectious, and Lena couldn't help but smile. The girls had become inseparable over the past weeks. Where once Myra had been cautious and quiet, she now spoke freely, laughed freely, and even challenged Arya in playful games of logic and creativity. Arya, full of energy and curiosity, had learned patience, observation, and the satisfaction of working together. "Mama, come see," Myra called, waving excitedly. "Arya and I found a new plant." Lena followed them to a small clearing at the edge of the orchard. A strange hybrid plant had sprouted, glowing with soft colors that shifted with the angle of the sunlight. The girls had discovered it among the older crops, carefully tending to it over the past few days. "It's beautiful," Lena said, kneeling beside them. "Looks like it's healthy and happy," Arya grinned. "We worked together. Maybe that's why it's glowing." Lena felt a deep warmth in her chest. It wasn't just the plant, it was everything. The girls had learned teamwork, creativity, and care. They had learned that small actions, when done together, could create something extraordinary. Jace appeared from the nearby greenhouse holding a cup of warm tea. "I see you two have discovered something special," he said with a smile. "That plant is unique and it thrives because of your attention and love." Myra beamed. "We helped it grow, right?" Jace nodded. "Exactly. And that's how families grow too, with attention, care, and time together." Lena watched as Jace crouched to adjust a small irrigation drone. It was easy to forget that he had been managing this ranch alone for so long. Now, with Lena's help and the girls' curiosity, the ranch felt fuller, warmer, and alive in a new way. As the day progressed, the family worked together. Lena fine-tuned drones and sensors, Jace coordinated irrigation and energy systems, and the girls moved between the plants, singing softly to encourage growth. Each action was small but meaningful, and together they maintained a harmony that made the ranch flourish. By midday, Lena called the girls over. "I have an idea," she said. "Let's make a special garden, a place where everyone can see our work, enjoy it, and maybe even learn something new." The girls' eyes sparkled with excitement. "Can we choose the plants?" Arya asked. "Of course," Lena said, "and we can combine colors, shapes, and even patterns that respond to light and sound." For hours, the three of them worked. Arya arranged patterns with lights, Myra experimented with melodies that encouraged plant growth, and Lena coordinated the irrigation and monitored sensor data. By evening, the garden was complete, a glowing, harmonious space that reflected creativity, teamwork, and the joy of discovery. Jace came to see their work as the twin suns began to set. "Incredible," he said quietly. "You've made the ranch more alive than ever." Lena felt a sense of pride she hadn't experienced in months. The ranch was no longer just a home. It was a symbol of resilience, creativity, and the power of human connection. That night, the family gathered on the porch. Myra and Arya lay on a blanket, looking up at the stars as Lena and Jace poured warm tea. The soft glow of the hybrid plants lit their faces, creating a magical atmosphere. "Mama," Myra said, her voice sleepy but happy, "do you think we can stay here forever?" Lena smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's face. "I think we can," she said softly. "This is our home now, and it will grow with us just like we grow with it." Arya yawned and leaned against Myra. "I like this family," she murmured. "Even if it's new, it feels right." Jace placed a hand on Lena's shoulder. "We've all learned something important," he said. "Home isn't just a place, it's care, trust, and shared effort. And this ranch, it's our home because we made it together." Lena nodded, feeling a deep sense of contentment. She had spent so long surviving, so long protecting Myra from the harsh world, that she had almost forgotten what it meant to truly belong. Now, surrounded by glowing crops, humming drones, and laughter, she understood. Family wasn't just about blood. It was about connection, love, and working together to nurture life, both plants and people. The next days passed in harmony. Lena continued to refine her skills, creating new patterns for the hybrid plants and improving drone efficiency. The girls experimented endlessly, learning about colors, sounds, and the rhythms of growth. Jace supervised, guiding without controlling, letting everyone contribute their ideas. One afternoon, Lena noticed that the neighboring farms were beginning to implement some of the systems she had designed during the solar storm. Drones moved more efficiently, hybrid plants thrived, and the colony began to benefit from the innovations at Jace's ranch. Lena realized that their work wasn't just helping their family, it was improving the lives of the entire community. "Mama," Myra said one evening as they watched the sun set, "do you think we can help other colonies too?" Lena smiled. "Maybe someday. For now, let's focus on helping here. But yes, one day we can share what we've learned." Arya nodded eagerly. "I want to help too. I can sing to plants anywhere." Lena laughed softly. "That's the spirit." Weeks turned into months and the ranch grew even more vibrant. The hybrid garden became a symbol of hope and creativity for the colony. Children from neighboring settlements visited, learning how plants responded to care and attention, and watching Lena, Jace, Myra, and Arya work together seamlessly. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Lena walked through the orchard alone. The glowing plants reflected in her eyes, and she felt a quiet pride. She had survived hardship, faced uncertainty, and learned to trust again. Myra slept peacefully nearby, and Arya played with a visiting child under the soft lights of the garden. Jace tended to the irrigation system, humming softly. Lena realized that the real magic of Aurora Prime wasn't just in the technology or the glowing plants. It was in humans, our creativity, empathy, and ability to work together. It was in the love they shared, the guidance they offered each other, and the hope they nurtured every day. She returned to the porch where Jace joined her. They sat together, watching the girls play. "You've done something remarkable," he said quietly. "You've built more than a home, you've built a family and a future." Lena reached for his hand, feeling warmth and trust. "We've done it together," she said, "all of us, and this is just the beginning." As night fell, the stars glittered across the sky, and the glowing garden shone like a beacon of life and hope. The ranch was alive with laughter, light, and the hum of machines working in harmony with nature. Myra and Arya's laughter echoed through the fields, carrying the promise of joy, learning, and growth. Lena smiled, finally feeling at peace. Aurora Prime was more than a distant colony, it was home. And in that home, she had discovered the true meaning of family, belonging, and the limitless potential of human creativity. No storm, no challenge, and no uncertainty could break the bonds they had built. Together, they were resilient, inventive, and full of life. The ranch had become a sanctuary, a place of wonder, and a testament to the human spirit. As she watched the twin moons reflect on the glowing fields, Lena whispered softly, "Welcome home, Myra. Welcome home, Arya. Welcome home to all of us." The girls, the ranch, and the glowing hybrid plants thrived under their care. Life on Aurora Prime was no longer just survival. It was joy, innovation, and love. And in the heart of the colony, a new family had blossomed, proving that humanity's greatest strength was not in power or machines, but in connection, care, and the courage to grow together.